All right, today we're jumping right into the rich and really complex history of a people whose story is woven deep into the mountains of South Asia.
So who are the Nagas? It seems like a simple question, right? But believe me, that one question opens up this incredible world of ancient history, colonial encounters, and an ongoing, powerful struggle for identity.
The Naga thinker Dr. Vasir Sanyu puts it very simply. You are a Naga because your parents are Nagas. It's about your family, your village, your heritage. But as we're about to see, the full story of what it truly means to be Naga is way, way more intricate than that.
And here's something you've got to understand right from the start. The Nagas aren't one single monolithic group. Nope. They are a collection of many distinct peoples, each with their own unique cultures, languages, and traditions. And their ancestral lands, they were split by modern political borders. So to really get their story, we first have to figure out where their name even came from.
The first clue to understanding the Naga people is right there in their name, a name whose origins are actually still debated, and here's the kicker, it's a name they didn't even give themselves.
What's so interesting about this is that both of these theories point to the same thing. The name Naga was probably an exonym, a name given to them by outsiders. For centuries, the people themselves would have just identified with their own specific village or their clan, not as some single group called Naga.
And get this, the first time we see a written reference to this region, it's from the Greek geographer Ptolemy, nearly 2,000 years ago. He called it Nalagoi. That is just incredible. It tells you that the people of these hills have been part of the world's story for a very, very long time, long before any modern maps were ever drawn.
Okay, so that takes us way back. But just how long have people actually lived in the Naga Hills? Well, recent archaeology has uncovered some answers that are frankly stunning, and they're challenging everything we thought we knew about where the Naga story begins. 16,000 years. Just let that sink in for a second. That's how old the earliest evidence of human activity found in the Naga Hills is. Archaeologists literally found a layer of ash deep inside a cave that pushes the Naga story all the way back into the Stone Age, way older than any written records. And the evidence just keeps getting stronger. We're talking about human remains from over 6,000 years ago. Not only does this anchor the Naga story deep within their ancestral lands, but ancient DNA connects these very people to the Tibeto-Burman language family, the exact same language group the Nagas belong to today. That shows a continuous presence for millennia. So what this all boils down to is a really fascinating debate. The old story was that the Nagas migrated in from Southeast Asia. But the incredible linguistic diversity of the region has some researchers thinking, what if it was the other way around? What if this area was a homeland that people actually spread out from? The science is still unfolding, but what's clear is that a huge shift was on the horizon, one that would forge a totally new identity. So you have this picture of hundreds of independent villages, each like its own little republic, sometimes even at war with each other. So what happened? What forces could possibly transform all these separate groups into one collective people with a single shared identity?
Well, the answer, and this is the ironic part, came from the outside. Powerful forces arrived in the 19th and 20th centuries, and they would change the Naga world forever. Two powerful forces showed up in the 19th century. First up, the British Empire. To make their administration easier, they just lumped dozens of distinct groups under one single umbrella, Naga. At the exact same time, American Baptist missionaries arrived and introduced Christianity, and it spread like wildfire, creating this powerful, unifying spiritual bond that just washed away all those old village rivalries. This is what Dr. Sanyu calls an imagined community. Now, that doesn't mean it's fake or make-believe, not at all. What it means is that, for the very first time, people from different villages who would never, ever meet started to see themselves as part of the same family. Just like any modern nation, right? This shared identity was built on a very real foundation of common history, cultural links, and now this new faith that let them imagine themselves as one people, the Nagas. And once this powerful idea of a single Naga people took hold, it wasn't long before it became a political idea, the dream of a single Naga nation. And that's a movement that continues to shape the entire region to this day. And this timeline, it just shows you how quickly things moved. It really kicks off in 1918 with the Naga Club. Just a decade later, they're petitioning the British with a crystal clear message. When you leave, and I'm quoting here, leave us alone to determine for ourselves, as in ancient times. This powerful desire for self-determination led them to declare independence and eventually to a long and painful armed struggle. So, creating the state of Nagaland back in 1963 was a huge deal, of course. But it didn't end the conflict, and the reason is pretty simple. The new state didn't include all the lands where Nagas lived. It left many Nagas in neighboring states and across the border in Myanmar. So the story of the Naga political journey, well, it's still being written. It's a continuing search for a lasting, honorable peace. And really, it all comes back to this dream, this deep aspiration that Dr. Sun Yu put so perfectly. It's a dream of unity that goes beyond the political borders drawn by other people, a desire to live as one family. Ultimately, the Naga Enigma leaves us with a really powerful question, not just about them, but about all of us. What truly defines a people? Is it a line drawn on a map? Or is it a shared story, a common dream, and an identity that simply refuses to be forgotten?